All right, guys, we're gonna call Tempest. Yo, what up? What up?
What up, what up?
Lord Tempest, how you doing, sir?
It's raining outside really badly.
It is. Yeah, so Stream and Tempest, kind of what I was thinking is I kind of want to have like almost like an interview, ask you questions about, your very impressive run at CEO. Or not CEO, Combo Breaker. And I kind of wanted to ask some questions on like basically how you won. And I was thinking maybe like we could kind of talk about stuff like how you prepped for the tournament and what your mindset was going in. I remember you mentioned you're like, this is like the best I've ever played. So I'm curious to see like why that was the best. And then like maybe we could watch a set from the tournament and kind of talk about like how the hell you beat Happy Chaos so easily. Because like I remember like I wasn't like fully watching it because I was like playing casuals and also watching it at the same time. And I remember looking up, I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like how'd you win already?
Yeah. I love that.
Let's talk about your preparation for Combo Breaker, because I know when I normally check Discord and like if I ever come across your name, it usually says TempestNYC playing League of Legends, and I haven't seen that for a while. So have you been putting more time into the game, or like do you have like a new strategy to prep for a tournament, or what kind of what's going on there?
May I say the complete honest truth? I'm gonna say for the past 4 weeks for Combo Breaker, I primarily was only playing in WNF for the Series E sponsorship, right? And I got third in that, which was pretty disappointing. But after placed slightly behind Umisho and Red Widow, very very close. But so that was that, and I want to say that was about 2 weeks before Combo Breaker, like approximately 2 weeks. Outside of that, the other thing that I played in, which you probably remember, it was in April, but you remember the Series E Invitational, right?
Yeah.
And I basically used WNF and the Series E Invitational as like testing points. Basically, I was looking for what issues I had.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right, because I wanted to see what could stop me from winning anything, basically, like literally anything. I realized it was not a skill issue. There was no skill issue at all. I primarily was losing because I got very either flustered or tilted or something like that, primarily. So for me, it was mostly mentality and mental.
So it wasn't like anything in game, not that you were making like bad decisions or anything. It was more of your mental was bad, therefore it was affecting what you did in game.
Yeah, so for what I did, for like Combo Breaker was like 2 weeks, 14 days away or something. So here's what I did. For like 9 of those days before the tournament, I was just playing Apex.
That's godlike. That's godlike.
I literally would just wake up, do schoolwork, play Apex, do schoolwork, play Apex, do schoolwork, play Apex.
Damn, is that the tech?
And kind of. So
do I need to start picking up Apex?
So for me, it could have been League 2, right? But I decided this time it was Apex. But so for me, I'm sure other top players feel this way. I haven't really talked to people about this, but it's probably a similar feeling we all have, where a lot of your preparation close to the tournament doesn't matter that much. It's disproportionately effective. What matters more is what you've been doing for the past couple of months.
Yes.
Or like
/ 100% agree. Yeah.
Yeah, right? So, I'm already good enough to get top 8 in this tournament, because my goal was top 8 ever since Frosty, right? Because that was the first time I haven't placed top 8 in the major, and I'm like, this doesn't feel good. So I didn't overthink that my skill level or anything, but what I did think about a lot is, number one, mental, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose because I got really tilted. That's what happened to Series A. That was really like sad for me, honestly. I was like poised to win, and then a very bad drop happened because of like kind of nerves-ish.
Okay.
And then I just lose, and then it carried over into my stealthy set when I played so well versus stealthy before and I played awful. So I wanted to focus on that. The other thing that I thought about but couldn't do yet was actually eating. So I'm not sure about you, but I had this thing in tournaments where I literally would not eat food for like...
Oh yeah, the punk tech. Yeah,
just not eat food, right?
Then you tweet, I haven't ate food in 4 days, and then get ripped apart.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I would like in tournaments, the reason why eating food for me doesn't feel too good is like or reason why I was so against it is because the way you feel when you eat like a good meal and then you play in tournament, like I know you know what I mean, but for for everyone else, basically it kind of just feels like you're not like complete, like
you feel sluggish.
Sluggish is a good word to say it. Yeah, so I've held this belief for like I want to say about 4 years now. I've been competing all this time without really eating. I was being criticized by like Hotashi and a couple of others at the Series E event for like, you know, not eating. Like the reason why like I played so poorly was eating, and you know, I really did not want to think that was really the reason why, because I've been doing so well just doing the same thing over and over. But
Yeah.
I decided that I was going to take that advice, although that is something that is more closer to the actual tournament. It has nothing to do with preparation, but that is something I at least thought about. And the other thing that I thought about besides those two things, how I was gonna approach certain matchups or certain players if I played into them. So I thought about Zato primarily, because Zato for me was a very hard match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate Zato. I hate Zato more than any other character in this game by far.
Yeah,
That's why.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You prefer Zato, because I remember you talking about how much you hate Zato like the whole weekend.
Yeah, so for me, that was a big thinking point. And funnily enough, I didn't truly get how I was going to beat Zato until the actual weekend, which was really random. But
So what was the revelation that came to you? You had that divine light that came down and it was like, here's how you beat Zato. What was that light bulb that kind of clicked in your head?
I don't even know, honestly. Like, I played Peppery and Casuals, and like they beat me like pretty convincingly. And then we played like 20 minutes later, and then I beat them pretty convincingly. And I don't know. I just feel like I unlocked something, and I'm not sure what it was. It was really weird. We essentially went back and forth, and those were good matches. And for the first time, I wasn't angry fighting Zato, and I don't know. I feel like I learned a lot. A little bit back to bracket preparation. Honestly, we were waiting for the bracket for centuries. We didn't get them until like 5 days before the event or something.
Yeah.
So wasn't too concerned about that. I already know my matchups, mainly thinking about mental not getting tilted. That's why I was allowed to be on Apex and still win. It's not all about playing the game. You don't have to play the game in order to get better.
It's funny because I see this pattern a lot in people where like they don't like super grind hard before an event and they do very well. And it's very similar to like, are you familiar with like marathon runners and the concept of tapering? What happens is like a runner, they'll be prepping for this marathon for like 6 months and they'll keep scaling up the miles, scaling up the miles, scaling up the miles. And like the week before the tournament or the big race, they actually run a lot less. So they're fresher, right? And I think it's the same thing with fighting games in the sense that like if you can stay more mentally fresh, then you're gonna have a better time at the actual event. So I think
avoiding burnout
is
is really important.
Yes.
Like you need all your energy. And the other thing is, I think of it like studying for a test or something really important. You build up all the information that you have through hours and hours and hours beforehand. You don't cram like exams and expect to do really well. Obviously, fighting games a little bit different, but like, you know.
No, I think it's pretty similar. Yeah.
Pretty similar, right? Like, how much better can you get a week before a tournament to actually win? If you don't think you can win a tournament 2 weeks before it, unless there's like some matchup issue that like you can figure out within 2 weeks, you're probably not gonna win.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. You grind out a specific piece of tech or against like a certain player, right?
That's always my mindset with that. Playing Apex doesn't really matter to me, right? Like, yeah, I'm playing Apex. I already know I can win though, so why does being on Apex matter?
Man, that's fucking OP. Yeah. I guess one other thing about prep, just curious. So you said you worked on your mental, and I think a lot of people, that's like, it's a very vague concept. Like, how did you work on your mental game? Was it something that you spent a lot of time like thinking about? Was it something that you read about? Was it something, you know, you meditated in the forest? Like,
what I did personally was I talked to very specific players about it. I remember talking to Latif about it, for example, and a couple of other people about how they approach it. Shout out to them, by the way.
How they approach it, competition, you mean, or a tournament?
How they approach getting tilted, because getting tilted I would lose a lot of the time. So other than talking to other people about it, I just thought about it myself. I realized for me, the thing that would tell me the most was dropping combos that would like lead me to winning and then losing because of it, dropping inputs and losing because of it. That tilts me the most, and that's why I lost at Series A, I feel. So I tried to combat that. And then something that I didn't really think about, I was told that honestly, like, mistakes like that are a part of the game.
Yes.
Right. Like, it would be boring if everyone, you know, had like never dropped or did everything optimally all the time or something like that. So mistakes like that are a part of the game, and adjusting for it as necessary is a big part of the game too. I thought of it like that too, where it's like, oh, well, this sucks, but also like, you know, I already know I'm good enough to like play around it. Just because I drop doesn't mean the game will end. If someone played better than me, then that's just kind of it, right? So I started thinking of drops more like, oh, you know, it's just a part of the game. It's not something I should get really like super upset about. That's something that helped me a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to approach it. It's actually pretty similar to like how I think about it is like every single combo you do, you have a percentage chance of dropping it, right? Like I have a 99% chance of, you know,
99.
yeah, I mean like, okay, it's Strive. Like the combos are fucking easy, right? Like I have a 99% chance of getting my bread and butter down. But you know, that 1% happens sometimes. Sometimes you just get bad rules, you get bad RNG. And that's what I think about it. But like changing how you play is always gonna make the RNG worse, right? So I think you just have to play the numbers. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and you know, execution is something that can be worked on, but also we're all humans, so we're all gonna drop anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like I could practice my bread and butter, get from 99% success to 99.9 success, but it'll never be 100%, right? And after a while, you get diminishing returns. Like there's no point in you practicing Leo bread and butters 5 hours a day in training mode because it's not gonna help you that much, right? It's gonna help you minimally. Yeah. All right, cool. Hey, that was really insightful. So I guess let's talk about the actual tournament. You feeling nervous, excited, good?
Pools was interesting because I liked my schedule. I know some people had to play 8 hours the second day, which I personally would think is very challenging and hard to deal with. Usually you can only really prepare for that by either entering a lot of netplay tournaments or playing a lot offline. But what I did, since I had pools on one day and then top 196 on the other, I just didn't focus too much on pools because I didn't want to overthink it. I didn't recognize anyone, but I just thought to myself, if I just play normal, I'm literally probably not going to lose. So that was my mentality on it. Even if I had someone who I recognized in my pool, I probably would have tried to apply this similarly to them, unless it was like, I don't know, like Roz was in my pool. Maybe that's a bit different. But, that was not the case.
Yeah, I was kind of scrubby about it. I don't know if it's like scrubby or a good idea or a bad idea. Chat gave me this idea to look up everyone on rating update. Yeah. And I found out that that's how I found out there's a European Nago in my pool that had like a 1900 score. I was like, oh shit, I better prep the Nago matchup,
That's really funny.
So right out of pools, I played Rincario. I searched him on rating update and he's like a top 10 Zato online, right? And so I was like, that is a little bit intimidating. And then how like at the bottom of the rating update, they have like the matchup spreads, and he had a way worse win rate against Biken than Eno. So I was like, I think I'll try Biken first.
How did that work?
I won, so I guess it worked okay. I didn't actually try my Eno against him because the Biken did well.
The match I was concerned about the most in the entire tournament, and what I was talking about and seriously prepared for actually, like mentally, was my top 48 match, because I told everyone that I talked to about the tournament that the highest chance of me losing in this tournament is very likely in top 48, because you know why?
I don't know, Sados?
No.
I know you play Punk, but
I had Punk in my path again. For me, Punk is very hard to fight because he has very good neutral. Yeah. Primarily. And I had to make sure I wasn't overly thinking anything when I had to play him. And I thought to myself, if I lose in this tournament, it's probably going to be here. He's traditionally very strong versus me. I actually think out of most people I played in bracket, he has a higher chance of beating me than most players, even though I think Soul versus Leo is really bad for Soul. So, and obviously he has a lot of Leo experience, so that's also an issue. And honestly, game 1 gave me the confidence that I needed, but game 2 and 3, I started playing really bad. I was doing terrible things. I just wasn't playing the game properly. I just started doing things that I normally wouldn't do. It was kind of like nerves, honestly. He made a comeback in a round or something, and I'm like, oh god. And then it kind of snowballed from there. And then I was down 1 and 2. I'm like, okay, hold on, because I don't want to lose. I don't want to go into losers. So
you disconnected his pad. Yeah, I get you. And then
oh my god. Yeah, so that was interesting. That was really random. I was upper rammed. I think, personally speaking, I very likely had game 4 anyway, but it was really just unfortunate how that happened, basically, right?
Yeah.
And after that, I'm like, okay, I just need to, close this out. I also didn't play particularly well game 5 at all. We went to last round, but I was able to snowball the last round, thankfully. And I did the infamous Tempest thing where I do run up 236H.
The infamous Tempest thing? All right.
Because I've never done that to Punk before, and I noticed he was playing pretty backwards, so I was able to win like that. And then, I was able to win that match. After that, and once I saw I was fighting Solstice, I was very confident for Sunday onward, because Ram is one of my best matchups. And even though I was concerned about fighting Creperie, which I had to eventually do, which I really wanted to fight Hotashi, by the way. Against Zato's a nightmare, but
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing because like you played the winner of Peppery and Hotashi. I played the loser, right? And so
Yeah.
I was thinking like I kind of hope Hotashi loses here because like I hate this matchup too. I'm so bad at it, dude. So
yeah.
but yeah, not cool. And then, so I guess what you basically ran all the way winners finals, dude. How the hell did you speed run? Because I saw Umisho versus Razo, right? And it was super close. Kind of looked like Umisho knew the matchup very well. And then I don't know. I just looked down and I looked up and you won. Like I don't understand what. Like, did you just have a read on him or like?
So there's a couple of things about our set. Number one, I just want to say that I flat out think I'm better versus Happy Chaos than maybe everyone else in the world right now. I played a lot of matches and thought about it to the point where like I think I'm extremely good versus Happy Chaos, and there's not many other people who can say that. I actually think Razo's good versus Happy Chaos too, but they don't do everything that I do. I also think from what I've seen, Latif is also very good at it, and there's a couple of others too. So that's number one. Number two, me and Umisho have played a ton, and obviously Razo has also played Umisho a ton, but
yeah,
the difference between me and Razo is I play neutral completely different. I use a lot of 2D. 2D smokes a lot of Happy Chaos's buttons. My button placements in general were very good.
Umisho can't really punish 2D like that.
Nope, literally not at all. So I can just poke with it a lot. So that was a big thing. Number three is the matchup itself. Leo is I think personally Leo's the best character in the game versus Chaos. He snowballs really heavily if he gets a hit. His neutral versus Chaos is a lot more acceptable than literally everyone else.
Well, like just 236H and 2D.
236S, 236H, 2D,
yeah.
The dash itself. 5K,
yeah, it's so good.
2K. There's
true.
Literally no better toolkit versus Happy Chaos than Leo, I think. S Fireball versus Clone. Other than those three things, this is gonna sound weird to say, but I think my Leo offense is very, 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 very like noticeably strong. Like obviously Leo's offense is just stupid, but I think the way I pressure with Leo is super strong, and I have a good read on my opponents.
Yeah, you have like different timings to things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I target a lot of defensive choices that my opponent makes in the match, and I was shimming a lot this tournament because I noticed everyone was tech throwing. One of the main strategies when I saw Umisho fuzzy jump was like, okay, I'm gonna call out the fuzzy jump a single time, and then I want to see if the shimmy works afterward. And I said to myself, if the shimmy afterward works, I think I can get it to work maybe 3 or 4 more times after that.
That's
because they were gonna default to more tech throw than fuzzy jump, because I know Umisho likes a fuzzy jump, right? That's the knowledge that I had before the set.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, if I get them to fuzzy jump, or if I could deter them from fuzzy jumping, I can get them to tech throw. If I get them to tech throw, I think they're gonna stay tech throwing, since they're not gonna want to be like called down their fuzzy jump again. They're gonna feel bad about it, because I made a very hard call out. Before the set happened, I want to say I maybe thought about it for like 10 to 15 minutes before, like while waiting for the match. I'm like, I tried to plan out the set before then, things of what they were going to do, etc., etc. So that was one of the things on my mind for sure, because I know Umisho likes to fuzzy jump. Umisho got way better at the matchup though, and started playing more. I'm like, yeah. Bro,
you just did 2D, slate delay 2D. That's fucking OD.
Yeah. I mean, you see this round, like this is what I'm talking about. Like once Leo gets in, it's just like it's like it could be pretty hard to deal with. This is maybe one of the best rounds I've ever played against anyone ever.
Why do you think you played so well? You're just in the right mental state, and you kind of had all the successes leading up to this.
I was not nervous at all. I was just playing. I had no real issue like thinking or playing this out at all. I just thought to myself, I know the matchup. If I lose, then that's on me. Like that's.
I respect that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I feel like you also just had like a really good read on Umisho.
Oh yeah,
in general. So what is it you think? What do you think people don't do in the Happy Chaos matchup that other people? Because like watching this, you're just kind of like you're just going in and you're hitting buttons and you're mixing his shit. I mean, like
RPSing appropriately at round start is one big thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is getting impatient and not dash blocking. People trying to jump. People jump versus Chaos for some reason.
Right, which makes no sense.
Like especially over clone. Jumping over clone is pretty awful unless you do it maybe one time out of like 50.
Do you think hitting the clone's good? Like a 2P or something?
Depends on your character. I think it's good on Kai, for example.
Well, because you could do like 2P stun dip or something?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess with Leo, you just always go for S Fireball, right?
S Fireball is good. However, Umisho's been doing this thing where they they like the air dash when they have clone out because they like to know I do as fireball. So
yeah, that makes sense.
if I saw clone in the set, which it didn't come out because I already know Umisho doesn't like zoning in this matchup that much because they think zoning in this matchup is not that effective for chaos.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Even if the clone came out, I wasn't too concerned. I was just gonna wait. You literally lose nothing by waiting. It's just impatience.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was also playing around meter pretty heavily because I know the chaos win condition, break the wall with super. Trying to play around that pretty hard with bursts. That came out more often in the second set though. Another factor in this set, I remember I played Umisho. One of the only people I played before the tournament started was Umisho. Like I played them in the first to 10, and I won 10-5. And that's when I learned that my rust, quote unquote, from playing Apex was not going to be a factor.
That's OD.
Right. The way Razo plays the matchup is completely different than me. I also took advantage of that. I think fighting Leo as Happy Chaos is really awkward because depending on how the Leo plays, you have to adjust how you're zoning or how you play neutral completely.
What does Razo do differently?
Different button placements. They sometimes jump. They just play different. I can't like fully analyze it because I haven't like super like looked into it. But if you look at the Razo set versus how I played Umisho, it looks completely different. I also RPS on shots way more. Like most people don't RPS on the shots from the H button, but I do a lot.
What do you mean, like backdashing the shot, or what are you talking about?
Not really backdashing, but like pressing normals and moves. For example, if I think Happy Chaos is gonna do something like steady aim or something, I like to do Leo 236S or 236H to get him out of it, or do run up 2D or something. Whereas other people will just wait, like straight up wait. And the problem with waiting is he gets too much meter because he's hitting full screen Fafnirs. So like,
full screen Fafnirs. Is that what we're calling it? That's OD.
Yeah, it's too much meter.
Yeah. Okay, no, that makes sense. Yeah, so it's more like trying to catch out the greedy reloads or concentrations and that sort of thing.
And then throughout the set, you can determine what the Happy Chaos player is doing.
Yeah, those are like tending to keep them mid-screen too. Like you're just kind of looping the Oki as opposed to.
Yeah. That's an important thing. Now, granted, I remember this game like Umisho like folded a bit because they did something they probably shouldn't have, but you know, I think they still got too much flack for that. It was the you remember this, right?
I completely forgot about this. Oh my god. Yeah, I did see some posts on Twitter about like, here's my Happy Chaos, I'm just gonna run up and grab from full screen and that's bad. I don't know why they went for that. That's crazy.
I think for literally 99.99% of the tournament, they were playing mostly fine. They went for that and lost this game because of that. We all make mistakes. I mean, I made a mistake. I got H Fireball instead of like 2K 236H. There's a reason why they're on. There's a reason why they're on stage and everyone else isn't, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, he had a read and it's just a low percent read. There's also the thing, it's like you want to play like the best you can, right? And like you want to like play outside your current abilities, and in order to do that you have to like do things you never usually do, and sometimes it's like really good, and sometimes it's stuff like, you know, full screen run up grab.
It's all about tilt emotions, not letting it get to you.
So when you had that H Fireball come out, I mean, like, what did you say to yourself?
I just didn't let it affect me. That was it.
That's OP.
That was my mental training. That's what I've been doing.
I'm not Apex. So it's basically just like, I'm not gonna let this affect me, like, or you just don't even think about it.
Literally, it's just I was like annoyed for like literally 2 seconds. I'm like, okay, fine, it happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's kind of what you're saying, is like it happens, like acceptance. I feel like especially like in those big like high stress environments, like you're always gonna have that stuff, right? Like I mean, you look at all the execution errors that Umisho made, like drop reloads, and it's gonna happen.
It's a part of playing the character, right?
Exactly. Yep.
I mean, that's essentially everything though for how I thought about that set.
So I appreciate your insight. I guess, chat, you guys have any questions? Any final thoughts, Tempest? I think that's really insightful. I really enjoyed hearing your perspective on it. I think it's fairly valuable. Yeah, what's this question from Elba? What would you say is your best practice regimen? Or like, what do you think the most effective way to practice is?
It varies from person to person. I don't actually believe in the most effective way to practice because it depends on the person. For me, if I'm actively trying to get better at something, I focus a lot on it. Like I hyper focus on it and I tackle one issue at a time because I think focusing on multiple issues at once is really hard. So
I also agree with you in that like there's no one super efficient way to learn, because like I think every method of learning has like diminishing returns, right? Like playing rank matches to get to Celestial I think is very effective, and like going on Celestial to learn matchups is very effective. But if your only practice is just playing on Celestial, like you're gonna hit a brick wall and you're not gonna proceed, you know? All right, cool. Hey, appreciate your time, Tempest. This is, I think this is really cool. Thank you for taking time.
No problem.
Thank you for taking the time out of Apex to, you know, come hang with us.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
Awesome. Well, hey, appreciate it. Have a good night.
Take care. Goodbye, stream. Have a good night.
Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. Guys. It's cool hearing like Tempest's perspective on everything. The Apex thing is kind of crazy though. I mean, like to me, it's like I like to play like an average amount and then like take a break, you know, right before. Just Apex, yeah, hardcore. That's insane.